Cowboys Nation, there is real movement happening in Dallas. And I am not talking about the slow, front office playing it safe kind of movement. I am talking about decisions that are reshaping this roster right now, today. There was a coaching hire that nobody saw coming, and it just turned into one of the most underrated steals of the entire offseason. There was a contract standoff with a player this fan base loves that is about to hit a breaking point. There was a trade conversation involving first-round picks that could completely redefine how this draft goes. And then there is the thing nobody can stop arguing about, the window. When does it open? Is it now? And are the Cowboys actually building towards something real this time? Or are we watching the same movie again with different actors? Before we get into all of it, one quick ask. Subscribe to the channel and drop your take in the comments. I genuinely want to know where this fan base stands, because this is not a one-way conversation. All right, let's get into it. Okay, here is something the Cowboys do not get enough credit for, and I want to start here because it reframes everything else. There is a metric called utilization ratio, tracked over at overthecap.com. What it measures is simple. Are you paying players who actually play? Because the worst thing you can do in this league is hand out big money and then watch that investment ride the bench or break down every season. The Cowboys are third best in the entire NFL at avoiding exactly that situation, right behind the Lions and the Eagles. Now, I know this front office catches heat, and some of it is deserved, but when it comes to identifying which players are worth paying and then actually getting value out of those deals, they are doing it at an elite level. Keep that in mind as the offseason negotiations heat up, because that context matters a lot for what is coming. Okay, now let us talk about the hire that quietly happened and turned out to be anything but quiet once you dig into it. B.T. Jordan has been brought in as a pass rush specialist consultant. I saw the report and my first reaction was, sure, a consultant, fine, why not? And then I actually looked at the resume and my reaction changed completely. This man spent the last 2 seasons in Denver, and what did the Broncos do in those 2 seasons? They set the franchise sack record. Then they reset it, led the NFL in pressures, quarterback hits, and sacks in back-to-back years. That is not a coincidence. That is a coach who knows exactly how to unlock a defensive line. To be honest with you, this is the kind of move that does not make the front page, but ends up mattering enormously. Because think about what the Cowboys already have up front. Donovan Ezeiruaku, Osa Adejizua, DeMarvion Overshown when healthy. There is real talent there. Now you add a coach who just did something historic with Denver's defensive line, and suddenly the ceiling on this pass rush looks different. I keep saying it, and I will keep saying it. For too long, this franchise had talented rosters being held back by coaching. That movie is over. Between Christian Parker on defense and what we are seeing with these coordinator and consultant hires, the Cowboys are becoming a destination for sharp, ambitious coaches who want to prove something. That is gold. That changes the locker room. That changes defense. It doesn't fix everything overnight, but it is the right foundation, and right now, the Cowboys are building it the right way. Now let us get into something that is honestly starting to bother me, the Brandon Aubrey situation. And look, I have nothing but respect for what he has done. Pro Bowl kicker, elite leg, arguably the best in football right now. The Cowboys came to the table and offered to make him the highest-paid kicker in NFL history, $7.5 million per year, highest ever at his position, and the ask coming back from his camp was $10 million. Let me put that in real terms. That's a 33% gap. Not 5% above market, not even 10%, 33%. If you knew your house was worth $400,000 and you listed it for $530,000, your realtor would sit you down and have a very honest conversation. That's what needs to happen here. And here is the part that frustrates me. The Cowboys are not being cheap. They are offering the most money ever paid to a kicker in the history of this league. That is not a lowball. That is respect. But at some point, you have a defense that needs starters. You have positions all over this roster that need investment. You cannot let a kicker become a distraction in March. I think where this ends is the tender. Second-round tender, around $4.5 to $5 million on a 1-year deal.
Any team that wants Aubrey has to send that second-round pick, and I guarantee you no smart team is trading a second-rounder for a kicker. So effectively, it keeps him here for 1 year at a discount while the Cowboys redirect energy to bigger priorities. That is the right call. Do not cave. Do not let this drag out. Put the tender on it and move forward. Because the bigger conversation is what is happening with the draft, and the Cowboys now openly acknowledging they would consider trading one of those first-round picks. Stephen Jones has confirmed they are open to moving up, moving back, or dealing the pick entirely for the right veteran. And look, I have gone back and forth on this. For a long time, I was against trading back, but now, looking at the depth of this roster, I've actually come around. The Cowboys are top-heavy. Great players at the top of the contract sheet, real talent in the middle, but the depth underneath is thin. And that depth issue has killed this defense for years. The developmental misses at safety, linebacker, and corner, they all trace back to not having enough day 2 picks to build real depth. A second and a third-round pick are often more valuable to a roster like this than a late first. If the Cleveland Browns are genuinely open to moving back from 6 and the Cowboys can get into that range with their 12 and 20, the calculus changes completely. Caleb Downs potentially available, maybe Anthony Hill early in the second, that is a draft that reshapes this franchise. And here is the deeper truth about the Cowboys window that I want to address directly, because the fan base is split on this, and I think a lot of people have it wrong. This is not a win now or bust moment. I know that is hard to hear after 30 years of frustration, but look at what is actually in place. Christian Parker is a first-year defensive coordinator. He is learning his role. This defense is not going to be a finished product in year 1. It is going to be better in year 2, better still in year 3, and the last of the Micah Parsons draft capital gets used up next April. That is when the full window opens. The Seahawks took half a decade of missing the playoffs and hard rebuilding before they were championship level. The Cowboys right now have a top 5 offense returning every starter, a defense trending upward with legitimately elite coaches in place, 2 first-round picks in one of the most important drafts in recent memory. That is a program on the right path. Patience is not complacency. There is a real difference. Follow the process. Build it right. Because the Cowboys that rush into a desperate move to try to win this exact second are the Cowboys we have watched miss for 30 years. The Cowboys that build deliberately, that get the coaching right, that add the right pieces at the right time. That is the version that finally makes the run. So guys, now I want you to drop your take in the comments. Are you in on the BT Jordan hire? Do you think the Cowboys hold firm on Aubrey or pay him? And where do you stand on trading that first-round pick? This is the conversation, and every voice in this community matters. Let us keep building it together.